Hello.
Good evening, sir. How the
Good
devil
evening.
are you?
I'm deviling rather well, my friend. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. I've just had a notification on my phone telling me that Hooked on Wrestling is now live on YouTube.
Well, yes, it is, as per every week. And our audience is nicely building. So hello, everyone, if you're here. So please do say hello. Evening, Chris, first off the mark. There we go. I can see there's a few people already joined us. These guys, they're quick off the mark, aren't they? They know it starts at 7:55. We're like the old Saturday night show on TBS, aren't we? Don't want to do it on the hour.
6:05. Do you know what it is? What it is, Paul? What it tells me is that these people don't just come for the quiz; they come for the sparkling repartee, because they could turn up at 4 minutes past 8, but they know that they're going to get 10 minutes of gold even before we get underway with the actual quiz itself. Because the quiz is, I think, secondary.
Liquid gold. All right, Will, Matt, Leanne, all here. Lovely new name banners. Yes, Rob's deliberately made his Rubber Duck Johansson to let you all know that he is in fact winning the quiz on the Hooked on Wrestling Facebook. I've completely lost my train of thought. On the website.
See, you're so baffled, aren't you? First, what it is, folks, is the quiz that is set very, very well, I might add, every Friday on the website by our good friend Alex Lister. He puts the quiz up. I've never met Alex, but he sounds like a good lad.
He's a handsome bloke.
The quiz up. It might be a she, actually. I don't know. Alex could be either way. But
Alex is very masculine and very handsome.
Is it? Okay. It's funny because I always thought it was just another name for you. But anyway, this quiz goes up every Friday. And what I do is I enter every week, but I don't use my real name. I usually put a silly name in for the hell of it, so Paul doesn't know I'm entering. Because I normally come about 20th, it doesn't really matter. But this week on Friday afternoon, Paul texted me and said, "Are you Rubber Duck Johansson?" And I said, "Yes." And I said, "Why?" He said, "Because you're winning the quiz." I think I texted Paul and said I got 17 out of 20 this week, and then later on in the day he said that was the only person that was on that. And that was Friday morning, and it's Sunday afternoon, and I'm still winning. Shame on all of you people for not beating me, because I am largely an idiot. And actually, I got 18 out of 20, except I typed one of them in wrong. That's still my fault, to be fair.
Can we just have a quick sound check, guys? Everyone in the comments, can you hear us okay? Richard's saying he can't hear us both, and I thought we might have heard a few more comments if we were a bit quiet. So please let us know whether you can hear us okay. We are just coming up to 8 o'clock. As people will know, we take it easy until 8 o'clock. Then 8 o'clock we'll start explaining the rules for all the newcomers, and then we start the quiz proper at 5 past. So Patrick, hello. He says he can hear us loud and clear. Tack is a name I don't remember seeing before. Hi, Tack. Mark. Hey, Ash. Who else we've got? We've got Carl here, who's finally on time. Richard, hello, if you can hear this. Martin, hi mate, how you doing? You've come down, you bombed it home down the motorway to actually make this week, because he was crap. Martin's usually really good at this, and then he had a crap week last week because he watched us on delay. So he's now got it in his head that the only way he can actually score well is by watching us live. So
I mean, that's possible.
I'm up for that. Jenny's here too. Hi guys. Well, we've got quite a cool turnout. I love the fact that we got a bunch of new regulars in the last couple of weeks, and they're all here to join in. So as per usual, guys, and if it's not, and we'll explain it all if it's your first time, but for the regulars, if you want to send your little hello to Chris on direct message, if you haven't already, Chris will respond with his customary wave or thumbs up, just so you know your answers are registering. That'd be fantastic. And my cat is eating my... What are you doing? Get off.
Oh, it's an early appearance this week from young Dizzy, the most recent addition to the Benson household.
Well, he's just been trying to eat my charging cable, but it's all good. All good in the hood. He's back.
That sounds like an absolutely brilliant insult, doesn't it? Eat my charging cable.
You knobber. Right. It's 8 o'clock. So what we're going to do now is we are going to explain the rules to everyone who's not played before, who needs a little refresh. So guys, welcome to the Hooked on Wrestling quiz, sponsored by WWE Euroshop. But we'll come to that in a little while.
Official.
It is official. It's official. So here's how we play. So you're going to get 20 questions tonight. 10 have been set by myself, 10 have been set by Rob, and we will ask the questions that we have set. What I'll do, using me for example, I will ask a question. I'll give you guys a little while to send your answers in. Then Rob will give his answer, what he thinks is the answer, and then we'll carry on. We'll do that in blocks of 5 and give out bonus points for each 5. We'll come back to the bonus points in a second. How do you enter the quiz? Very simple. Send your answer via direct message to the Hooked on Wrestling Facebook page, okay? Please do it on direct message, not putting the answer in the comments. Send it that way. And like I said earlier, if you just test that now by sending Chris, who's our little background guy, who's the superstar of the show, really. But if you send him that now, he will send you a little thumbs up back to make sure your answers are registering. So you send us through. The reason we ask you to do that is we want fastest finger first, okay? So when we ask a question, the fastest 3 people to send an answer through on the direct message will get an extra bonus point, okay? So if you get it right, you'll obviously get a point. But if you're one of the first 3 to get a particular question right, you will get an extra point. After every 5 questions, Chris will pop up and he will tell everybody how we've done in the last 5 questions in terms of bonuses. You'll see how that works. Hey, Dale, we've got a newcomer. Hope you've heard all the relevant information here. Couple of little housekeeping bits on submitting questions. First of all, you only get 1 shot. You only get 1 answer. So if you put an answer in and then you realize you're wrong or you realize you made a mistake, unlucky, you won't be able to resubmit. So please don't bother. Hey, Amy, how you doing? Secondly, if you could please number the questions as you send them in. It's a real help to Chris. So when you submit your questions, it'll be 1 answer, 2 answer, 3 answer, and so on and so forth. Whoa! Sorry, the cat just I don't know.
What was that?
He tried to jump onto my desk and landed on my little son's chair, which wasn't as stable as he thought, and he went crashing across the underside of my desk and then shit his pants and run away.
Right, what's you're going to need to get rid of the cat, right? Not because it's disrupting the quiz, but I think because this is the internet, that everyone in here will enjoy the quiz, but actually if it was an hour and a half of watching your cat run around, they might go for that ahead of us. So you do need to, a bit like some of the older hands in WCW in the late 90s, we need to stop the more athletic, entertaining members of the roster getting over. Please put them in another room on Thunder.
Well, we're already second and third fiddle on this show, mate. So we don't really want to be fourth fiddle, do we?
Well, we already bury him. Hatchie's already buried. We don't have to worry about that. Now we've got to look after the cat.
Right, guys, we're coming up to 5 past, a couple of minutes away. So if you just mention in the comments, if you've got any questions, anything not clear on how you submit questions, anything else, when we, like I said, we will answer each other's questions. We don't prep these though. So the questions I ask, Rob doesn't know about, and vice versa. So please don't put any stock in our answers. We tend to be wrong more often than we're right. So just very quickly before we start, because Steve, who's missed, Steve, you send the answers through on direct message, okay? You send it through to the direct message on the Hooked on Wrestling Facebook page. Please test that now. If you send us a quick hello by direct message, Chris, who's manning our back end, will send you a quick wave or a thumbs up or whatever it is back, just to acknowledge that they're coming through. Okay, so send on direct message. It's quite simple when we get going, but that's the real key part. The main reason, just one more thing to remember. One more thing before I forget, before we get started. So we are working with WWE Euroshop now, who are going to provide a free t-shirt for our quiz every single week. This week it's a Jeff Hardy t-shirt, a special edition Jeff Hardy t-shirt. We're going to give it away, not to the winner of the quiz, because that's too easy. We're going to give it away to the person, at random, to somebody who answers every of the questions. So you've got to be in it from question 1 to question 20. If you are, we'll put your name in a hat, we'll draw one out at random, and you will get sent the t-shirt. There's a few I'm still yet to send out from last week, guys, by the way. I've not forgotten. I've just not been able to get to the post office because our local post office has been closed for refurbishment. So I will be doing that tomorrow. Are we ready to rock?
Yeah, not far off. I was just going to say to anyone that's new, because there is a couple of people that have suggested that they are new tonight, or it's only their second week, or whatever the case may be. It's worth remembering this quiz is hard. Okay, it's meant to be hard. It's meant to be a thinker. It's not going to be one that you go, haven't got a clue. But there's questions that are in there that meant to make you think. Quite a lot of questions last week, and certainly in the second round that I did, There's quite a lot of people who only got 1 or 2 out of 5, but they enjoyed the round because they were close or they could have a go. The idea is it's an hour and a half or so's worth of entertainment. We have a bit of fun on a Sunday night, and that's why we don't necessarily give the prizes out to the winners, because it's more of about participating and having fun, really, than it is winning. If you all weren't here, Paul and I would probably be on the phone doing wrestling quizzes to one another anyway. So since we do that, we thought we might as well stick it on the internet and see if anyone wants to watch. And since there's a few of you that do want to do that, Sunday nights have turned into my favourite night of the week. So that's always the main thing to remember. We'd rather you went away saying that was entertaining, but the quiz was too hard, than saying good quiz, but bloody hell, it dragged a bit. That's what we would say. So I'm looking forward to it. We don't rehearse these questions that Paul says, because we want to have fun ourselves as well. And we are not eligible for the prize, which is a shame.
Damn. Right, well, I'm going to kick off with the first 5 questions. So just a couple of last quick hellos to Adam, to Callum, to Jenny. Hi, guys. Welcome back. We'll get started. My round is called Who Won? Okay, so got 5 questions here that all start with who won. All right, you'll see how that goes. Very simple. So question number 1. Who won the most matches on television in WWE in 2019? And that goes for anything televised. So anything on the network, anything on pay-per-view, anything that had a camera pointing at it and was shown on air. So question 1 is, who won the most television matches in WWE in 2019?
Can I just clarify that you mean, when you say WWE, does that include the NXT brand as well?
Sorry, it does. It includes every Titan Sports branded programming.
Titan Sports. I take your point. If it's everything on the network, then I would. I'm tempted to answer Bret Hart, because I would have just watched all the Bret's matches on the network time and time again, and that would be the answer. It's a good question, though. Who had a great year? Who had a great year last year and would have been winning all the time?
I have made a deliberate effort to do some more recent questions. I've thrown a few oldies in there in my bunch, but I have thrown most of mine are more modern, because I know I wasn't quite old school last week, so I just wanted to balance it out a little bit for fairness' sake.
That's gonna kill me, you know that. But it's not about me. It is about the populace. Goodness me, it's a good question. I'm just trying to think of anyone that had like a really. You need to try and think of someone that had a really strong year, that was pushed, that was considered an important part of TV. But then there are some people that don't necessarily wrestle every single week. They might have won all of their pay-per-view matches, or a great deal of them, but they wouldn't necessarily have been wrestling every week in terms of having matches on TV. You probably need someone that's going to be having sort of 35, 40 TV matches as well as the pay-per-views, I would have thought. Good question, Paul.
Well, let's have an answer. Let's have an answer from you.
I'm really struggling. I'm going to go for someone who, because I just feel like he would have wrestled on TV a lot. And I'm desperately trying to remember if he had too many bad injuries or anything. But I'm going to go for Seth Rollins. I just feel like Seth Rollins is an important integral part of the TV. He was mostly babyface, wasn't he, last year, until he started to turn. So they tend to get more wins. So let's go with Seth Rollins, but with no real amount of confidence behind it.
Okie doke. Seth Rollins, your answer. Question 2, everybody. Question 2. Who won? Oh, this one maybe should be who has won, but we'll go with who won, because that's the theme. Who won singles titles in WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor, and New Japan? Who won singles titles in WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor, and New Japan?
There's only one person that's won in all 4 companies.
I believe so. If I'm wrong, singles titles. Obviously, if I am wrong, I will, and I see proof that there's another answer to it, I will give it. But as far as I'm aware, there's just the one answer.
What a good question. What a good question. That's one of those that you feel that should be massive news, shouldn't it? Like, everybody should know that. That should be talked about all the time.
Yeah.
Yet, wow, I think that's a tricky one. I mean, just say the companies again.
Singles titles in WWE,
TNA,
Ring of Honor, and New Japan.
New Japan. Wow. Because everyone that I'm thinking of, there's at least one missing. I'm going, oh, they were in that, and that, but they didn't go to New Japan. They were in that, and that, but they didn't wrestle in Ring of Honor. That is really, really tricky. There's no connection, by the way, is there? Other than who won being the connection in the wording of. There's no connection in the answers, is there? Just to be clear.
Correct. We've had plenty of answers in now, mate. So give me an answer.
This is the point. Just in case, I'm sure no one does this, but just in case anyone's sitting there just waiting to pounce on whatever I say, I don't think it's going to be your night. I had a good week last week. I think I got 8 or 9 out of 10 last week, and I might have I already mentioned that I'm winning the online quiz? I think I have. But I am struggling tonight, so don't just copy me.
I would strongly advise you don't wait for Rob.
I really want to say to you, let me come back to this, but that's not how we play the game.
That's not how we roll, baby. Come on.
I need to try and think of someone that would have been, because everyone I think of, I just go, no, they weren't in that company. No, they weren't in that company. I'm gonna just take a punt and hope that at some point, unbeknownst to me, that AJ Styles was in Ring of Honor, but I don't think AJ Styles has won a Ring of Honor title. But I might be wrong. I'll say AJ Styles.
Cool. Okay. Question number 3.
I don't connect AJ with a title in Ring of Honor. So
fair enough. Question 3: Who won the main event of the first SmackDown broadcast on Fox? Who won the main event of the first SmackDown broadcast on Fox?
When was that? Was that last year?
It was last year, yes. So, Philip, right. I've blocked you for 5 minutes, mate. Not for anything you've done wrong, but because you put your answer in the comments thread, which is a no-no. We want you to put your answer through to us on direct message, please. Sorry, you must have arrived late and not heard the rules. But yeah, please don't put it in the comments. When you're entering on YouTube, I can't just delete the comment. I have to put you in what's called timeout. So you won't be able to make any comments for 5 minutes. Don't worry. Not a big deal at all. It's just the only way we can do it to stop other people seeing the answers. So answers via DM.
Is that
please,
the first?
Mate, if you don't mind.
Our first ever sin bin. Is that what's just happened?
Well, it's the only way to do it with YouTube.
On wrestling sin bin.
YouTube just doesn't cut it, mate. It doesn't cut it.
It's a power play. For everyone else, it's a power play. For me, it's an I don't.
Power.
For me, it's an I don't know. Once again, I'm going to be caught out, folks, by the more up to date ones because my knowledge base is very firmly in the middle 90s as opposed to the last couple of years.
Go on, then give us an answer.
There's an if in doubt, isn't there? You would think that you get the big names out for a show like SmackDown on Fox. You get the big names out to try and introduce an audience. So I'll go Brock Lesnar, but I don't know.
Okie doke. Right, question number 4: Who won the ECW title from Mike Awesome after he jumped to WCW while still champion in April 2000? Who won the ECW title from Mike Awesome after he jumped to WCW while still champion in April 2000?
I know that one. That one. Yeah. I think we put. Did it not come up in the? I think it came up in the podcast a few weeks ago. Did it?
I can't remember that.
I think it seemed to think it was mentioned. I can't remember exactly why, but the context of it is ever so slightly passing me by. But I think it was in the podcast. I do know the answer. I'm just trying to.
Just stalling a little while.
Just stalling a little bit while it's a remarkable situation. If you consider it now, it is the equivalent of. Let me see. What? What are you?
Go on. I think we've had enough answers in. So let's.
I think we've had long enough, and it's going to take me a while. So it's the equivalent, really, of the Impact World Title being won by someone who jumps to AEW and they get beaten by someone in WWE. It's an extraordinary situation which you cannot imagine happening now. Mike Awesome was the champ. He went to WCW. They made him come back and defend it on one-off occasion, and he lost to the WWF's Taz. Is who he lost to.
Okey-doke. Cool. Okay, very confident on that one.
And Taz then defended the belt on SmackDown against Triple H, of all people.
Fair enough. Right. Question number 5. Who won the 2019 Wrestling Observer Wrestler of the Year Award? Who won the 2019 Wrestling Observer Wrestler of the Year Award? So for avoidance of doubt, that is the award that covers the 2019 year that was awarded in early 2020 or 2020.
Okay. Was that? Can I clarify whether that was picked by Dave Meltzer or whether it was picked by the subscribers of the Wrestling Observer?
I have to just to clarify. The only thing I can tell you is it's the one. There's 2 Wrestler of the Year type awards. There's the Wrestler of the Year, which is like is it called the Ric Flair Luthez Award or something like that? And then there is the Outstanding Wrestler of the Year award. It is not. That's not the one I'm looking for. I'm looking for the Ric Flair Wrestler of the Year award. I think that's what it's called.
Okay, because obviously, if it was nominated by Meltzer, I would say that it was an equal first for the entire AEW roster. Presumably, but
I think if it was, I think it'd be the Young Bucks that would win it jointly.
I suppose he could have picked a. Actually, I'm saying that, and I'm not absolutely certain I can think of an AEW performer that would have had such a standout year. So I think I might go to. I might go to another company for it. Because again, I did a bit of an if in doubt on the SmackDown question, didn't I? I did a bit of an if in doubt, you go for so and so. So if in doubt, when it comes to Dave Meltzer and Wrestler of the Year, go to the top of the roster in New Japan. I'll say Okada. Okay. Right. That's 5 questions, guys. So what we're going to do now is we're going to give out the answers for those 5. So again, for those playing for the first time, mark your own. Okay, we will check the winners at the end, but keep a tally of your own marks. And then once I've given out the answers to these 5, we'll bring Chris Hatch in, we'll bring Hatchamania in, and we will we'll reveal the bonus points as well. Okay, so right, question number 1. I asked you who won the most television matches in WWE in 2019. You guessed Seth Rollins. I just felt he would probably have wrestled the most, and ergo he might have won the most.
Well, the answer is Seth Rollins. So good start and a point to everyone who said Rollins. Okay, question number 2. Who has won single?
We'll call that an educated guess. I think it wasn't a complete shot in the dark, but I certainly didn't know.
I think that's fair. So question 2: singles titles in WWE. Who has won singles titles in WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor, and New Japan? You said AJ Styles. The answer is AJ Styles. So he won.
Did he really? Did he win the pure title? I don't. Wasn't Ring of Honor champ, was he?
No, he won the pure title. You're absolutely right. Title. So he was the IWGP Heavyweight Champion in New Japan. Obviously, WWE Champion amongst others in WWE. Various belts in TNA, and the Ring of Honor Pure Champion. So that's AJ. Question number 3: who won the first SmackDown broadcast on the main event of the first SmackDown broadcast on Fox? You again, when if in doubt, go Brock Lesnar, and you were absolutely right to do so because it was Brock Lesnar beating Kofi Kingston for the WWE title in about 7 seconds in what is his only TV match since 2004.
Oh, is that right? Bloody hell!
He has had 1 TV match in 16 years, and that is it. Question number 4. Who won the ECW title from Mike Awesome after he jumped to WCW while still champion in April 2000? No surprise here. We're very confident in this one. Yes, it is Taz, who then went and lost to Tommy Dreamer.
Oh, yeah, he did, didn't he? That's right.
Question
who cried?
Just days. You would do. Just days later, in fact. So, question number 5, last one of the round, mate. See if you can get a full house on the round. Who won the 2019 Wrestling Observer Wrestler of the Year award? You said Kazuchika Okada. It's Chris Jericho.
No,
Chris
no,
Jericho
I said Okada because I can't say his first name. I did say Okada.
Nor can I, by the looks of things.
Kazuchika, I think it's Kazuchika.
Well, I just mumble it and see if I can get away with it. It's Chris Jericho, the outstanding wrestler of the year. Actually, you were in the right company for that. That was Will Ospreay.
Okay, fine, yeah.
Dave Meltzer is a massive fan of Ospreay. So, guys, did anyone get 5 out of 5 for that one? If so, well done. We're going to bring Hatchamania in now, who's going to dole out the bonus points. So, hello, Hatchamania. We're running wild today.
We certainly are, mate. How are we all doing?
Excellent, mate. Good stuff. Look, we've all got our little name tags today. We're getting more and more professional by the week.
No, it wasn't hard from where we started from.
I see. I seem to recall a podcast that took place about 3 weeks ago between myself and Mr. Hatch there, and we used those name tags infrequently. We brought them up and then took them away again every now and again to make it look even more professional. But that's when I was manning the desk, so it's just a one-off. Get you. And just before we go through the bonus points, both Leanne and Matt thought Kofi won the most matches in 2019. He didn't win the most matches, but he wrestled the most matches. He wrestled 145 matches, which is more than anyone on the roster. I believe Seth Rollins won 115. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's the figure I remember reading. So, Hatchamania, have we got some bonus points? On telly.
150.
He won 150. So, obviously, 52 weeks a year. Plus pay-per-views. I'm surprised he had 114 on TV. It's extraordinary.
He won a lot. Chris, we got some bonus points for us, dude.
Right, bonus points. Patrick Heafield 3, Chris Marden 2, David Reed 2, Martin Richards 2, Tack Smith 2, Adam Pearson 1, Kerr McKinley 1, Leanne Culverhouse 1, and Steve Clark 1.
Fantastic. One more time, please, my friend.
Yep, Patrick Heafield 3, Chris Marden 2, David Reed 2, Martin Richards 2, Tack Smith 2, Adam Pearson 1, Kerr McKinley 1, Leanne Culverhouse 1, and Steve Clark 1.
Cracking spread for that. So, Chris, we had obviously word has been going around about Chris's scene stealing ability in these quizzes, because we got an offer in for Chris this week. We pay him very handsomely for this, but it was an offer we felt that we couldn't refuse on Chris's behalf. So in slick Bobby Heenan style, we've actually sold Chris's contract. So Chris doesn't know about this yet. So this is news to him. But we've got some breaking news here on the podcast. I'm just going to take us out of the equation so I can show you the news. Just give us 1 second. Would you believe it? Chris Hatch has got red.
Sorry. Do you know how every week we tend to make Chris do a little impression of someone? He's already doing Brother Love.
There you go, Chris. So pack up.
Why does that picture keep doing the rounds?
Because it's a good one. So pack up your stuff, mate. We've enjoyed you on the quiz, but you wanted on Dynamite on Wednesday night. So no, great, Chris. We'll see you. Hopefully, don't just get on a plane just yet. We need you for the bonus points in a little while. So I'm going to take you out of the equation. There we go. And we will kick on with the quiz.
No. Hey. Goodbye.
He's going though. He's not really going post. He's gonna pull double duty. That was the clause in the contract. Yeah. We haven't told him that yet. Right, let's crack on.
That was fun. Just a reminder, everybody, that the points that you scored in that first round. For example, if you got 3 out of 5 right, you're on 3 points. If Chris then said your name and said that you got 2. He wasn't correcting your amount of correct answers. He was giving you some bonuses. So if, for example, you got 3 out of 5 right, and then Chris said your name 2, your total at the moment is 5. Just to be clear, that's the way that we build the questions up. Just a couple of mentions in the chat. One in specific, Patrick, who's obviously a very stellar player in this quiz. He said, I forgot about AJ winning gold in Ring of Honor. I went for Joe. I was certainly thinking of Samoa Joe, but I didn't remember Joe ever having anything long stretch or anything in New Japan. Do you know who I nearly went with, Paul, as a guest? Because I don't really associate AJ with gold in Ring of Honor, so that's why I was struggling on it. I was maybe thinking that there was a match or 3 that maybe Rob Van Dam had in New Japan. He would have. You feel like Van Dam would have been a good fit, don't you, to have gone and wrestled a few times in New Japan?
Yeah.
Because but then I wasn't even sure. He probably wasn't a Ring of Honor guy as well. So it's
don't think he ever stepped foot.
No, he didn't. It's the wrong sort of era. But you can see it was those sorts of people I was trying to think of that could have had little sort of stints here and there. I wonder if there's anyone that's done 5. Has there anyone that's won gold in all 4 of those plus AEW? That's or indeed will do. That's an interesting question.
Well, no, because as far as I'm aware, it's only Styles that's done it. So I can't see him going all elite anytime soon. Hello, Brendan. You are late to the party, my friend, but better late than never. We have a rule. If you're late, you've got to bring beer. So we'll wait on that. Right, let's kick off with round 2, shall we, Rob?
Okay, so I'm going to do what Paul did last week, which is do 10 questions in a row, spread over 6 to 15. Okay? So I'm just seeing Tack's questions. So only those with 3 points who were mentioned get 2 bonus points. No, not at all. So what it is, Tack, is take how many answers you got out of the 5, whether 0, 1, 5, however many you got personally, that is your score for the first round. And then Hatch would have said your name. I think he did say your name at some point. I wasn't listening to everybody's. But whatever he said was your score, that is your bonus points added to the amount that you got right. Okay, I hope that's clear.
You got 2.
So what we're doing on my 10 questions is what Paul did last week. It's a 10-question connections round that is done between questions 6 and 15. So essentially...
Essentially what?
Am I still live? I thought I broke off then for a bit. Hopefully you can still hear me. Yes, I'm doing questions 6 to 15. Question 15 is essentially what is the connection between the answers of questions 6 to 14. We'll still do them in individual ways. We still want you to answer individually as we go along, but there will just be a connection later at number 15. You can send in your question for your answer for number 15 for the connection at any point that you want to, but I'm not sure if I'm getting messages, folks, that I'm not necessarily broadcasting to you, and I don't know if that's true or not.
You are.
Sometimes it's me that's having the issue. Sometimes it's Paul.
Right, so we could all hear Rob, but he was obviously having issues. Chris, would you mind just sending Rob a message and let him know he's disappeared? In the meantime, I'll just stall for a bit of time. So as Rob was saying, we've got 10 questions this round, 9 of which are going to be traditional questions. We want you to answer those as you did in the last round. The 10th question is a bit different. The question is actually, what is the connection between those previous 9 questions? They'll all be on a theme and have a connection. So you don't have to wait until the end to submit that connection. In fact, the earlier, the better. So again, the first 3 correct ones will get the point. So after 3, if you think you've identified a theme, bang it in, send the theme in, send your answer in. But if you're wrong, you only get you don't get another shot. So if you think you got a theme after 3, and then you submit your answer, and then you realize you were wrong, that's bad luck. You're not getting any more points for that. So I hope that's clear. So what we'll do is we'll just give Rob a couple more minutes. If he doesn't come back in a couple more minutes, I'll do my last set. Oh, he's back! He's here, and he's Rob McNichol. He's not Robert Johansson anymore.
I just went away to change my name. What happened there? How much did you hear of me? When did I disappear?
All of it, mate. All of it. I've reiterated the rules.
All of it. Okay. Good evening. It's 8:00. Welcome to all that much.
Yeah, we're good with that. You can run straight into the questions now, mate. We're up to speed.
Okay. Hopefully everyone understands the time in deepest, darkest Devon, and our internet is not the most perfect that it could be. I just drop out. Paul's is obviously sketchy all the time. Mine's obviously lovely, and then kicks me out from time to time for no reason. Okay, so it's a connections round. Question number 15 is, what is the connection? You can answer that at any point, but remember, you can only have one go at it. Chris will keep track of that. So there is a connection between the answers of the 9 that I'm going to do. Question number 6. In the original NXT, so that is to say before it was a brand like it is now, when it was more like a talent show. So in the first series of NXT, who had Christian as their mentoring pro? What you might remember is there were a bunch of contestants and they were all assigned a mentor, someone that kind of looked after them and helped to train them. There's a few of them that are quite memorable. There's others that are not so memorable. So which of the 10, I think there were 10, which of the NXT original contestants was given Christian as their mentor, their pro?
I'm just furiously writing down the names. All that I can remember, who were in that season, because I can't really. Oh, I think I've just remembered.
To clear up something, while Paul is thinking that and just finalising that, to anyone that was in late and wondered why my name at the bottom of the screen did say Rubber Duck Johansson, for whatever reason, I enter the online quiz every week and usually do badly in it, the one that's on the website, and I just put in a silly name just for the hell of it, so that Rob McNichol doesn't pop up in the top 5. But I'm never in the top 5 except this week. I don't know where Rubber Duck Johansson comes from. It was just off the top of my head. I put it in and I got 17 out of 20 and I'm still winning. So I stuck it on as my name for tonight. But once the broadband horribly kicked me off, I have returned with my real name. And I think, Paul, you just might want to address Brendan there, given an answer for that last question.
I do indeed, Brendan. I know you're late in, mate, so just to let you know again, you submit your answers via direct message to our Facebook page, please, not in the comments. I just deleted that one, so no problem at all. But bung as a DM, and that's the only way your answers will count, my friend, okay? Should be fairly straightforward. Chris is manning those and waiting for your answers. So, by the way, you were wrong on that on the answer you gave, because I don't think Tyler Breeze was ever in the NXT talent show at all, but he certainly wasn't in series 1. I can't remember for certain, but there's a little thing in the back of my mind that tells me it was Heath Slater.
Okay, that's Paul's answer. That's not necessarily right. It might be right. It may not. It may be helpful in trying to work out the connection. Number 7, whose finishing move was an enzugiri known as the Ghetto Blaster. Whose finishing move was an enzugiri known as the Ghetto Blaster. I'll be clear, I am looking for this person's, I'll say WWF because that's what it was. We're going back that far. Their WWF gimmick name. Because they may or may not have had different names in other places. But I want their WWF name, and I think I'm confident in saying they were a WWF wrestler. It's that era. Whose finishing move was an enzugiri known as the Ghetto Blaster?
I know this one. This one
okay.
I can give you with certainty, and I'll just give it another 20 seconds to go. Yeah, this one's right in my era, mate. And I love this guy. One of the best heels ever.
Speaking of gimmick names and stuff, I just mentioned the gimmick name for this person, and indeed I've mentioned my one for this evening. Do you think Rubber Duck Johansson is better or worse than Trevor Danger?
Trevor Danger's the best name ever.
Paul's son. And how old was Samuel at the time? He was only about 4, wasn't he?
3, 4, yeah.
3 or 4. No more than 4 anyway. I was playing wrestling figures with Paul's son Samuel, and I said to him, "Who are you?" And he said, "I'm The Rock." And I said, "Am I Rob?" And he said, "No, you're Trevor Danger." And a 4-year-old boy gave me the gimmick name Trevor Danger. I think if I ring Paul now, I think his phone will flash up Trevor Danger. I'm not going to do it. But that's so I've had lots of good gimmick names, and Rubber Duck Johansson isn't one of them. Maybe that's my Sexton Hardcastle. Who knows? Oh, did it come up?
In my phone connected, you are Trevor Danger. There you are.
Yeah.
Right.
You are genuinely showbiz Paul Benson in mine. So
I'll take that. I'll take that. Right. The answer to this question, question 7, is Bad News Brown.
Okay. He's a pilot these days, and they call him Airbnb. That's what he is.
Oh God.
Moving on. Number 8. Question number 8. Who, on his pay-per-view debut at Survivor Series 1996, body slammed Yokozuna? Who, on his pay-per-view debut in Survivor Series 1996, body slammed Yokozuna?
Right. So I'm just trying to think who was on that team. I can think of 2 of them, but I don't think it's either of those guys.
Now, see, of the questions so far, I would have expected you to know this one much more readily. Also, I'm not saying you have known either of the ones so far, but I would have expected you to be more confident on this one than the other one.
I can't remember the team, if I'm honest. Like I say, I remember 2 of the members, but I don't recall the other 2. But I think it might come to me if I think about it. Obviously, it was a famous Survivor Series debut.
It wasn't his debut. It was it was his first pay-per-view.
No, I understand. It's just
Here's
not,
a question.
It's just not.
Here's a question. As of in terms of working the verb, would you say debuting or debuting?
Debuting.
Yeah. See, if you did the proper French, you would have to sound the T. Should be debuting, shouldn't it? Have I got the right year? Have I not got the right year? Have I got the wrong year? Have I?
No, you've definitely got the. I'm pretty certain you got the year.
I might have got the wrong year. It's possible. These things do happen. I think I have got the wrong year. I have got the wrong year. I'm very sorry, everybody. It's 1995. I'm very, very sorry. It's a typo.
Thanks, Steve. I'm there thinking of who was on the bloody opposing team to Yokozuna at Survivor Series 96.
I'm very sorry.
Shoot you in the face.
Indeed, it is 1995.
In that case, I know the answer, but I'll give everyone a second chance. I will go, guys. All those answers you put in already, avoid. If you think you got it right already, stick with it. If you think you're putting an answer in based on 1996, go again. Just please make sure you make Chris aware it's a correction. Shame on you. How many points do we dock you for that? I think 7 out of 4. I think is good. Never mind. Anyway, I'll give it 10 more seconds, 20 more seconds or so. That's as a quizmaster, Rob. I know that bugs you to death, doesn't it?
It does, because I know that that's not the right year, and it's what I've typed, and I've just read out what I've typed, and then you could see that was throwing me, couldn't you? Because I was expecting you to get it immediately, and I was sort of going, I don't really understand why he's not got this straight away. And then when I think Steve in the chat said, "Have you got the right year?" and I suddenly went, shit. I know full well it's 1995.
Well done, Steve. It was indeed 1995, and I'm going to give the answer to the question. It's Ahmed Johnson.
Okay, I think we might. Well, I think we'll leave Chris to make the decision, as he's the one that's taking them in. But obviously, in terms of people's answers, that's easy to work out if they've changed their answer. But in terms of bonuses, it's probably not really fair to award bonuses, possibly because of people doing it quickly.
Yeah,
you know, the sense of speed is lost there because of how quickly you're able to do it because of my stupid error. So we might have to void bonuses on that one, but we'll see. It's up to Chris. Chris is he's the ref. Steve, why not replace me? I've obviously had a bit of a shock, so it's hubris. That's what it is. All my boasting of winning the online quiz this week is it's come back and bit like the heel that I am. I have had my comeuppance. Number 9 question is the 4th question of this section, but it's number 9 overall tonight. Question number 9: Who is the only? So you had your only person to win the titles question. I've got one of my own, right? Who was the only person? Who was the only person to wrestle at Invasion 2000. I've now got no confidence that my years are right. Who was the only person to wrestle at Invasion 2001, WrestleMania 25, Royal Rumble 2018, and WWE Evolution 2018? Who was the only person to wrestle at Invasion 2001, WrestleMania 25, Royal Rumble 2018, and WWE Evolution 2018? I think there's only been one Evolution anyway, hasn't there? But
yeah. Okay. I've got a good answer to this.
okay.
Good question, by the way. Good question.
Thank you very much. Have I redeemed myself by asking a good question at number 9 after making a fool of number 8?
You have.
What one little digit can make the difference?
And I have got the connection.
Ooh. That's what I was just going to say. Do you think you've got the connection?
I think
This
so.
is the
Unless
point.
unless you're pulling a swerve. Unless you're pulling a swerve on us, I've got the connection.
Send me the connection privately, and I won't look. And then
I've done it. I've sent it through.
Okay, yeah, I've got a 1. I've got a 1 on my private chat to the side here, so I won't check it, so I don't have to give anything away. But Paul won't say what he thinks the connection is, folks, because it will. If he's right, then it will help you too much, and if he's wrong, it will hinder you too much. So Paul will tell me at the end of the 10 what he thinks the connection is, but he may well use it to assist him in trying to get the answers. For the rest of you, if you haven't got the connection yet, don't worry. You can still you still get a point for getting the connection if you send it in at any point. So, for example, if right at the very end I say what's the connection, before we give the answer, you get that connection, you can score a point. However, the first 3 to get the connection will get the bonuses for this round, just like any other question. Let's have your answer then for number 9, Paul. Who was the only person to wrestle at Invasion 2001, WrestleMania 25, Royal Rumble 2018, Evolution 2018?
Well, unless I'm missing something, there was only 4 women who wrestled at Invasion. Lita, Trish Stratus, Stacey Keebler, and Tori Wilson. And I'm going to go, of those 4, I'm going to go, 3 of them wrestled at Evolution. But I don't think either Trish or Lita wrestled at WrestleMania 25, whereas Tori Wilson did. So my answer is Tori Wilson.
God, he gets at me for when I do my... If he asks me a question and I start going through all my work and I get this and this and this and this moaning at me, he can do... Because he's the boss, you see. He can do whatever he wants.
I do it in 10 seconds. You do it in 5 minutes.
Behave yourself. By the way, you doing it in 10 seconds and me doing it in 5 minutes, that applies in all sorts of walks of life. Question number 10. Question number 10. The first ever In Your House pay-per-view was the first ever WWF pay-per-view event to take place in which month? The first ever In Your House pay-per-view was the first ever WWF pay-per-view to take place in which month? I just failed to say WWF then. That's 3 letters, and I failed to say them properly. It's not my night. Mind you, you can't say WWE, so...
WWE?
You say it. You often say it like Vladimir Kozlov, you do, on the podcast. Double E. If you were starting from scratch, you wouldn't do 2 W's, would you?
You really wouldn't. You really wouldn't.
First of all, www comes along with the whole internet thing, and secondly, W's are hard to say. You absolutely wouldn't start with www.
Just say quadruple UE.
Quadruple UE.
Because that's clearly loads easier.
Also, AEW is a stupid name as well, not because of the letters, but because of the wording. Because you can't be all elite. The whole point of elite is that they are better than other people. If you're all elite, no one's elite. It's a stupid name. It should be No One's Elite Wrestling, which would be called New, which would be a much better name. Or if you, but better would have been to be called themselves All Wrestling Elite, and then they'd be called Awe, wouldn't they? AWE. That's a better name. Anyway, that's not what we're here for, is it?
Probably not. But anyway, the answer to the question is May.
The first ever In Your House was the first ever WWF pay-per-view to take place in which month? Paul says May. Okay, are we going to do the bonuses now?
Yeah, let's do the bonuses for these. Obviously, you're not going to give the answers out, are you? Because that would help with the connection. But let's bring Chris in.
I can't give the answers now because it would help with the. So if Chris is ready, if he's not ready, I can. Trust me, I can waffle.
Chris is ready.
Was that a thumb or was it a weight? I think he says here.
Just get ready to overthrow Aubrey on Dynamite. It's fine. Right. Points for the first 5. Patrick Heafield 4, Chris Marden 2, Will Kitchen 2, Leanne Culverhouse 1, Martin Richards 1, Matt Thorpe 1, Jenny Nelson 1. That's Patrick Heafield 4, Chris Marden 2, Will Kitchen 2, Leanne Culverhouse 1, Martin Richards 1, Matt Thorpe 1, and Jenny Nelson 1.
Awesome, fantastic. Right, so that's it, mate. That's the bonuses. That was nice, straightforward. So we'll bring you back in 5 questions time.
Can I just get one quick thing? Very harsh round with Rob messing his question up, but also you can't change your answers. So
have a few people been doing that?
And I'm afraid once it's in, I'm being strict on that.
There we go. No problem. Right, mate. Cool.
See you in 5.
See you soon.
We would have accepted the change of answer on number 8 because I messed up. But on any other one, once you're in, you're in. So if you have got the connection, you can't go back and go, oh, I've changed my answer to number 6, for example. That's not on, and that's what Chris is here for, and that's why he's elite, folks. That's why the big companies want him as their zebra.
And Dale, don't worry, mate. Your answer, it doesn't matter whether it only gets registered as seen if Chris has actually clicked into it. He doesn't click into the most of them because he can just see them on his screen. So he'll have seen it. Don't worry, even if he hasn't clicked on it.
Don't worry
about that. Let's go for it.
Shall we crack on? Speaking of AEW, This is nice and up to date. This is number 11, Ariane Andrew, who debuted on AEW just this week, worked under which name in WWE? So Ariane Andrew, who debuted on AEW last week, I believe, worked in WWE under which name? Just to be clear, and it might help slightly, I think most people will be okay with this, but just to be clear, we're looking for one name here, folks. Just looking for one word.
Yeah.
That
came out of nowhere, didn't it?
To be even clearer, because she was in Tough Enough under her real name, but I mean on the roster, appearing on television on the roster. Do you remember her appearance in Tough Enough?
I can't say. Oh no, she was the one that gave the that immortal answer. What was it? The best Jackie Gator against?
No. Steve Austin said, "What's your favourite match ever?" And Ariane said, "Melina versus Alicia Fox."
That's the one. Phenomenal.
I think she may have been the first one out of that Tough Enough, or very, very early out of that Tough Enough, but she was the first one to get a contract.
I enjoyed that Tough Enough immensely.
Fabulous. By the way, genuinely, absolutely genuinely, with no joking aside, if you've got nothing to do for the rest of the evening or for your evenings during the week or whatever, go and watch that Tough Enough again on the on the network, because it is brilliant. Stone Cold Steve Austin is an amazing reality show character, and when I say reality show, I don't mean your Big Brother sort of reality show, but I remember the brilliant TV writer Ali Ross once said that there was a holy trinity of reality show villains, and they were Gordon Ramsay, Simon Cowell, and Alan Sugar. You know, filling that sort of role of being that the mean one on the reality show. And I'm not saying Austin's necessarily the meanie, but he is so good in that role; it's unbelievable.
Yeah. And the answer to question 11 is Cameron, I think.
Okay. Number 12. Who was the youngest of the Killer Bees? Who was the youngest of the Killer Bees? That is number 12. If you know who the Killer Bees are, it's a bit of a coin flip. Or, if you've got the connection, you can work it out. If you don't know who the Killer Bees are, then obviously that's a little bit trickier. But if the question was who were the Killer Bees, then that's maybe something you can work out and go for one of them.
If you don't know who the Killer Bees are, forget Tough Enough. Go back and watch some Killer Bees matches.
It's true,
because they were awesome.
They were very good. They were in that sort of first real golden era of tag team wrestling in WWF.
Oh mate,
in the late 80s.
There were so many great tag teams there that were just card filler because it was such a deep division. It was, you talk about the tag team division of 2000 or so with the Dudleys, the Hardys, the APA, etc. Edge and Christian, obviously, didn't hold a candle to the late 80s. You got a team like the Killer Bees who didn't do anything, and they were just so talented. And the Conquistadors were obviously in both divisions.
The Conquistadors were a serious
They really did stand the test of time.
4 eras of great tag team wrestling, you could argue, couldn't you? You've got the first one in the late 80s. You've got the 2000 of WWF. Then you've got, I would say, the late 2000, the late noughties TNA, where there was an unbelievable roster of tag teams. And I think you could definitely say today's AEW has got some, fantastic tag team division. There's been several eras. It comes and goes in waves.
It does. I'm just getting some breaking news.
Okay.
Courtesy of Chris Hatch. If anyone that cares, Brie Bella has just given birth to a baby boy. So congratulations to Brie Bella and Daniel Bryan. They are now double parents. They are now champ parents.
Brie dos Bambinos.
Dos.
I'm sure that'll be their. That'll be the gimmick. What's it called?
I don't know.
Well, the last one was called. The first one is called Birdie, right?
Well, this one's called Boy.
It should be called either Eagle or Par or Bogey or Albatross, or presumably if they're going for the whole range, or drove out of bounds at 17 when in a winning position, which was my game on Wednesday. Anyway, what's your answer? Number 12.
Anyway, my answer is B. Brian Blair.
B. Brian Blair. That is not life advice. That is Paul's answer.
That could be the name of their child. B. Brian Blair and Birdie.
B. Brian Blair Bella. Oh no, it wouldn't be Bella. It would be Brian. Probably Danielson, wouldn't it? So.
Let's stick with a gimmick. B. Brian Blair Brian. God.
Okay. Number 13. Right. Number 13. We delve once again into the world of independent American wrestling. Who is the longest reigning Evolve champion in their history? Who is the longest reigning Evolve champion? That's a good one, isn't it? While you're thinking, I'm going to chat Tough Enough more. Steve Clark says Evil should have won. She might well have done. I seem to recall she got injured, did she not? I don't think she was eliminated necessarily, for being poor by the coaches. I think she was. She had to leave because of her injury, and she's probably done the best. Would you say she's done the best of anybody in terms of her actual career? Was there anyone else in there that's done more? There was a couple of guys in that I expected to do well. What was the name of the really slick guy that came second? He was a good looking dude. He wore his collar up and was dead confident and stuff. He looked like he was going to win it all the way along.
I forget his name, but I think he was the best.
He was the one that had the character. And then I forget. There was Jeremiah. I remember Jeremiah, who had a bit of a character, and he was a bit of an MMA guy. He was good. Something about him. And then there was a guy there was a guy called Martin, who I think also got injured. Martin Casaus, was that his name? I think he probably would have won it had he not get injured. He had everything in terms of in the ring stuff. But none of them. My point is that none of them have really done a lot. AJ Kirsch was someone that I stayed in contact for for a little bit while I was doing some other wrestling stuff a few years ago. AJ's a nice lad. He's done really well on the indie scene under his real name and his character, Brosif Joe Brody. But I'm surprised that none of them have done really too much elsewhere. It's a bit of a surprise. Adam mentions Andy Levine. Yeah, Andy was the winner. Big Andy. Silent Rage. He was the winner. But I'm trying to remember the name of the guy that came second because he seemed to be the one that had the potential. Anyway, that's enough waffle for Paul to have done. Going through Evolve in his brain.
Not a clue, mate. And I can't even think of one that fits the theory because my knowledge is not as good as it should be on the topic. But I'm going with Keith Lee.
Okay.
Don't even know if he was champion.
I would. It'd be. Oh, Chris Pereira says Luke. That's right. It was Luke. I wouldn't know his surname, but Luke from Tough Enough was the one that one would have expected to have gone further.
Luke Robinson.
Robinson. You're quite right. It may well have been that they thought he would do well, and sometimes they tend to pick someone to win it who they think they can use winning it as the push, and then they'll give someone that doesn't necessarily win it as because they think they'll do okay with him anyway. I think that's the Susan Boyle, JLS Lamar sort of theory that they don't need to win. Anyway, drifting. Number 14, Drew McIntyre's first 2 matches in the WWE were both singles matches. They were wins for him, and they were against which pair of gimmick brothers? Drew McIntyre's first 2 matches in WWE were both singles matches. They were both wins, and they were against 2 members of a tag team that were gimmick brothers. Name the brothers, please. That is to say, name their gimmick surname. That's what I'm looking for. So, for example, it's not Edge and Christian. That's to throw you in there straight away. But Edge and Christian don't really have a surname. It's also not Matt and Jeff Hardy because they're not gimmick brothers; they're real brothers. But in that case, if it were Matt and Jeff Hardy, your answer would be Hardy. Put it that way. But it's against which pair of gimmick brothers? Drew McIntyre's first 2 WWE matches.
Yeah, I've got this one. Purely by using the theme as the crutch.
Okay. Amy Gus, a very fair question. First or second time? I do mean the first time round. So his first ever stint in the company as a slim wee boy from Ayrshire on his way to being the chosen one, and then dying on his ass, and then going away to learn properly and coming back as the hero that he is now.
It's like a different guy. I had no time for
It is a different guy. It is a different guy. He is the player that got a big money move to the Premier League when he was 19, and he wasn't ready to play in the Premier League, so he got a free and he went down to play for Bristol Rovers and then to Sunderland and then to West Bromwich Albion, and now he's back at Man United. And it's like sometimes you need to play for some lower league teams and build yourself up again. He needed that. He wasn't ready at the time. That's happened to a lot of people, by the way. There's plenty of people that get there way too soon.
Yeah, absolutely right. I'll give you my answer now. My answer is the Major Brothers.
Okay, Major is Paul's answer in that case. The Major Brothers. Do we give people a second or so to have a go at the connection if they haven't, or will we get straight into it? What do you say?
Let's give them a quick go. So let's give them a minute to get the connection. So you've got 9
answers. A minute.
You should have got 9 answers there.
We'll do a minute. So here's the thing now, folks. If you haven't had a go at the connection, now is your time. Think about the answers that you've given. Think about the answers that may be, and see if you can throw in a connection. While you're doing that, Shall I give the announcement for what the podcast topic's going to be this week, Paul? Is it a good time to do that?
That's a great time to do it.
Okay, so last week on the podcast, we had great fun doing what is the best ever submission finisher. That was the topic on the podcast last week. So if you're watching on YouTube live, you can find probably the previous YouTube video and watch that. If you have your normal podcast providers, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, however you do it, we should be around. It's the How to Be Great podcast, and we discuss great things in wrestling. Last week was the best submission finisher. Listen to the podcast, listen to the 5, go and make your vote at hookedonwrestling.co.uk/vote. This week's topic, it's one that we've actually added to the list, Paul. We weren't going to, when we got through our list, we had something different in this position, but we've moved it and we've replaced it with something we came up with a couple of weeks ago on the fly. So this week for the podcast, we will be discussing who is, and this is the first time we're sort of doing a bit more theory rather than proof. So we're not going to the history. We're not looking back over WrestleMania years and Raw years and WCW years or anything like that. We're looking to the future and we're making a prediction. And we are going to ask who is going to be the best future color commentator. It's a very fun topic to have a look at. It's a little bit different to anything we've done before. In the past, we've done individual tag wrestlers. We've done surprise opponents, wrestler, non-wrestler combo, King of the Ring winners, best non-Mania Undertaker match, biggest impact on Impact, Mr. In Your House, pairs of WrestleMania matches, all sorts of things we've done all the way back. But this time we're throwing it to the future. So who is the best future color commentator? So who do you think in the future is going to make a good color guy? If we'd have done this podcast 3 or 4 months ago, we probably would have been talking about Samoa Joe. Yeah, and he's probably now disqualified because he's a current color commentator and he's a bloody good one. But who's going to be good in the future? That's the topic for the podcast this week. So keep an eye on our social media, on Twitter and Facebook specifically, where the question will be asked in the next couple of days. You can answer those questions on Twitter or Facebook, and we'll discuss some of the better suggestions in the podcast, which we usually record around about Tuesday or Wednesday. And how would people follow us on social media, Paul?
They would follow us by going to facebook.com/hookedonwrestling or indeed instagram.com/hookedonwrestling. Or if you're a person of the Twitter persuasion, you would go to twitter.com/HO_wrestling. Ho Wrestling. Didn't think that one through, did we?
There was always the issue, wasn't it, when we first started, was the old Ho business. But I think How makes up for it. I think How, as it says on my shirt there. I think How works. How works, Ho doesn't, but then that's the way it goes. Richard, what day is the podcast on? It was released a little later this week because I had some technical problems. We usually record it around about Tuesday or Wednesday and release it Thursday. It's not an exact day, but it's usually middle of the week somewhere, usually around about Wednesday or Thursday. I think it went up Friday morning this week because I was late.
Let's get some. Oh no, you want an answer from me for the connection, don't you?
Yeah, let's have your connection. I suspect you've got it because some of your answers were good and you were quite confident later on. So I assume that you've got the connection. Let's hear it for sure, though.
My connection, I believe to be right, is British Prime Ministers.
Paul says British Prime Ministers. Do you know what? He's right. If you went with the British Prime Minister. Excellent deep cut reference by William Kitchen, who says we should get Fred Dinage to endorse the T-shirts because he, of course, was on How. What about Bunty James, Will Kitchen? That's what I asked. Let's go back even further. Let's do the answers, though. That's what we're really here for, although we could get lost in 80s and 90s nostalgia if we wanted to. So, the connection is British Prime Ministers somewhere in all of the answers. I'll explain them as we go. In the NXT, who had Christian as their mentoring pro? Paul said Heath Slater. I think it was a bit of a pull out of the blue when you first said it, and I'm sure as time went on, you became more and more confident. But where did that come from in the first place?
I just remember there being a fairly sort of sleazy rock starry type pair on NXT, so I just wrote down all the participants in NXT Series 1, and Heath Slater was the one that stood out. I knew it was, there's 3 or 4 that I can remember, so I'd knocked them off straight away. And Slater was the one that made the most sense. So yeah, Heath Slater.
Yeah, I think the 2 that sort of resonated were obviously the Miz and Daniel Bryan and Chris Jericho and Wade Barrett. After that, I would start to struggle with who was with who.
Well, I think Justin Gabriel was with Matt Hardy. I think, but other than that, I don't know. So anyway, there we go.
Great series. I was in the O2 the night that they did. It was my birthday as well on the O2 when they did the that one-off. Do you remember they gave them a word and they had to riff for like 30 seconds on that word? And they said to Wade Barrett, "Wind," and he went, "I'll tell you about the winds of change that are going to be blowing through the WWF." And I went, "Oh, he's a star." That was the night that I went, "Yes, he's got something." Number 7, whose finishing move was an Ensugiri known as the Ghetto Blaster?
That was Bad News Brown.
It was indeed Bad News Brown. I should say Edward Heath, Prime Minister in the, late 60s, early 70s for the first one, and Bad News Brown, a reference to when Gordon Brown sold off our gold bullion resources. Number 8, who on his pay-per-view debut at Survivor Series 1995? Prick. I genuinely will lose a bit of sleep over that. Body Slam Yokozuna. It was Ahmed, better known to his mates as Boris Johnson. That was the answer, number 8. Paul's 3 for 3 so far. The only person to wrestle at Invasion 2001, WrestleMania 25, Royal Rumble 2018, and the only WWE Evolution. I sort of wish I'd saved this and just done it on another question and not had a connection, because I think you worked out the 4 possibles and then worked out what the connection was and went from there. But there was no Prime Minister Stratus, to my knowledge, or indeed PM Keebler the Younger. It was indeed, the answer was Tory Wilson, a reference to Harold Wilson, who was twice Prime Minister, again in the 60s and 70s. And of course, what WWE and indeed WCW got wrong was to call her Tory Wilson, because of course Harold Wilson was Labour, not Tory. The first ever In Your House pay-per-view took place in which month?
Well, this was obviously May. I think I would have got that without the connection, actually.
Yeah, that's another good. I think that's another question that would have been better without the connection in some ways, because it would have been a fun thing to work through. And once you know the connection, you can lock it in. Theresa May, obviously, who is the future pointless answer of British Prime Ministers. Patrick, if you said something originally and then changed it to Ahmed Johnson, I think that's okay. I would give you a point. That was my fault, not yours. When Chris made the reference earlier on about changing answers, I think he was talking about other questions that people had maybe said. They'd maybe said, Matt Hardy, for example, in the first. Oh, sorry, they maybe said Justin Gabriel in the first answer and then changed their answer to Heath Slater. You can't change that one. But if you changed it to Ahmed Johnson, that's my fault, not yours. So I would say anyone that put Ahmed Johnson eventually, within a sensible amount of time, would get that point. We cleared it up quite quickly, though. It wasn't like it dragged on for 7 or 8 questions afterwards. So as long as you got Ahmed Johnson before we went on to Tory Wilson, I guess that would probably be the issue. Heath, Brown, Johnson, Wilson, May. 5 out of 5 so far, Paul. Can we make it 6? Ariane, who debuted on AEW last week, worked under what name in WWE? Your answer was?
That was Cameron.
And we were talking about reality TV around that point. So Cameron, the only person to have been Prime Minister and a winner of Big Brother. But yes, Cameron was the correct answer there. Cameron, if you wanted her surname was in fact Funkadactyl. But I would have accepted just Cameron. Who was the youngest of the Killer Bees? This is really where your connection would help you. Certainly if you just knew who the Killer Bees were, but didn't know which one was the eldest. The Killer Bees were Jumpin' Jim Brunzell and B. Brian Blair. I'm fairly certain that Brunzell was something like 8 or 10 years older. He was quite significantly older, certainly around earlier. So the answer is B. Brian Blair, as a reference to Anthony of that ilk, Mr. Blair. I'm going to jump on to number 14 quickly and say that Drew McIntyre's first 2 matches in the WWE were singles matches against which brothers? Would you have got that without the connection? I think you probably would, wouldn't you?
I think I would, because I would have thought, I know what sort of rough time period it was. There's not too many pairs of kayfabe brothers around. I'm pretty sure I'd have got that anyway. I noticed you jumped the last question, and I'm absolutely kicking myself.
Have you worked it out now, have you?
I should have. It's not a case of working out. It popped into my head about 10 seconds after I gave the answer. You might notice the disgruntled look on my face.
Just to clarify, number 14 is the Major Brothers. They were later to be known as obviously as Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins, or they were the Edgeheads, weren't they? And then
they were,
Ryder and Hawkins, and now Myers and Cardona. So the Major is the correct answer we were looking for. The one I jumped over there deliberately was number 13, which Paul failed to get. The only one he failed to get. The longest reigning Evolve champion in history, something like 520 days, something like that. Now, doing very well for himself in NXT. Did you know how old he was, by the way?
No, I could not have told you that.
He's like 37, 38. I didn't realise he was as old as he is. He's been around while, but yeah, I like it when people come around that they feel like they're new stars and they're older than me. But as we had that issue last week on the show in terms of my age, the answer to the longest reigning Evolve champion is Timothy Thatcher. Timothy Thatcher is the answer. Obviously, he does all his wrestling for his beloved late grandmother, Margaret. Here's a question for you, Paul. Can you get the other two wrestlers that I nearly asked a question about? Well, what were the when I come up with this as an idea for connections and wrote down all the possible answers? What were the two I left off?
Oh God, I don't know. No, I don't know. Let's not bore people.
I was going to do a question about Neville, trying to get to Neville Chamberlain, but everyone else had a surname, so I didn't think that was fair. And because we did the Ariane Andrew question, what was her name in WWE? I didn't do what was Brandy Rhodes' name in WWE, but that was the other one we were going to ask, which would have been
Cecil Rhodes.
No.
Oh,
what was her?
Eden Styles. Yes, sorry, I'm completely misunderstanding the question because I'm trying to do two things at once.
She was called Eden Styles. Cecil Rhodes, incidentally, was who they named Rhodesia after which became Zimbabwe. But yes, I was going to ask you what Brandy Rose was called in WWE, and she was called Eden Styles as a reference to Anthony Eden. But I didn't do those. I did the 10 that I did. You got 9 of them. A very strong performance.
Still that 10 eludes me.
Yeah, you hit 9 a lot, don't you? You hit 9 a lot. Thank you, David. I appreciate that comment from David Reed, who said the connection was brilliant. I was nowhere near, but it's a good one. That's what we go for on this quiz. Not that we don't want you to get it, but the idea is if you don't get it, you go, oh yeah, and not, oh bloody hell. So thank you for saying that. Some of you probably did go, oh bloody hell, and I can't please everybody. But good effort from most people. Good effort from Paul. Should we bring in Chris for the bonuses?
Let's do that. Chris Hatchamania is back.
Cool.
How you doing, buddy?
Yep, good. You want some bonus points then?
Yes, please.
Chris Marden 4, Will Kitchen 3, David Reed 2, Leanne Culverhouse 2, Patrick Heafield 2, Mark Daniels at 1, Martin Richards 1.
Some decent scores there, mate. Can we have them one more time?
Yep, Chris Marden 4, Will Kitchen 3, David Reed 2, Leanne Culverhouse 2, Patrick Heafield 2, Mark Daniels at 1, Martin Richards 1.
Good stuff.
Splendid, mate. That is liking it. Chris, I'll get you back one more time after my questions, if that's okay.
Oh, see you in a bit.
See you soon.
Right, 5 questions to go. Paul is going to finish by doing questions 16 to 20. How many did I get of your first 5? Did I get 4 of them?
You got 4. I think you jammed your way to 4, but you got 4.
I did jam them. That's quite true. But so I need to get all of these in my own little personal competition with Paul. I need to get all of them. For those of you that are hanging on, because we're over an hour into our broadcast, please hang on to the end. 5 more questions to do. If you have answers to all of the 20, or if you have a nice little pass that we gave Mark earlier on, we will get everyone that's done those 20, do a little random drawing later on at the end of the show to get your Jeff Hardy t-shirt. And at this point, I really, really want to thank WWE Euroshop because not only did they support us on the Undertaker thing a few weeks ago, which we told you about last week, and sorted this out nicely there. We are now officially, as David Brent would go like that, we are now officially sponsored by the WWE Euroshop, are we not, Paul? So it means we can keep these prizes rolling every week.
And they won't always be the Undertaker.
And they won't
which will
always
make
be
a nice
Jeff Hardy.
change. They won't. They'll be very different every single week. That's
prizes,
the idea.
Different prizes every week, and we'll advertise them again. So we mentioned our social media earlier on. Keep an eye on Twitter and Facebook, particularly Facebook. We'll be able to tell you each week what the prize is going to be for the following week's quiz. So next Sunday we will have another prize. Just quickly to reference, Steve, we had a competition a few weeks ago where we gave away quite a lot of Undertaker swag. Have you still got your mug, Paul? You can do a little drink out of the mug. But we got sent lots of Undertaker Last Ride merchandise, and we've given lots of it away. I think we still might have a couple of little bits held back for a future occasion. But,
we'll see.
We will see. Over to you, Paul, for the final five.
Right.
Here's the thing, folks. I have guessed one of the things that Paul might ask questions about this week, and I've done some research. Let's see if I've got the five. No. I want you to tell me what your last five questions are about.
Well, my topic for the last five is, drumroll please.
Go on.
General knowledge.
Oh shit! What a wasted 45 minutes on Jeff Hardy's Wikipedia page.
It's never a wasted time. Why on earth would you? Oh, t-shirt, right? Okay.
I thought it was a Jeff Hardy night. I wrote my connections round before I knew we were giving away the Jeff Hardy shirt. Had I not, I would have done a Jeff Hardy round tonight.
I'm not that much of a shill.
Paul will do a Jeff Hardy round.
No, just a general knowledge, but let's get in there anyway. So, question 16.
Did you know that Jeff Hardy won his first TNA title in a three-way match with him, Kurt Angle, and Ken Anderson? Did you know that?
No.
No. Okay.
No. Thanks for that. Anyway,
what's your question?
Question 16. Against who did Jeff Hardy win his first? No, I'm kidding. Question 16 is in fact, what was the name of Kurt Angle's assistant/bodyguard during his time as the SmackDown General Manager in 2004?
At Wrestle Kingdom 5, Jeff Hardy wrestled Naito.
Just shut up about Jeff Hardy. It's all right. Let it go. What was the name of Kurt Angle's assistant/bodyguard during his time as SmackDown General Manager in 2004? That's the question. I can officially tell you there are no Jeff Hardy questions in these five. Not a single one.
Do you know what the name of Jeff Hardy and Mr. Anderson's tag team was?
No.
They were called the Enigmatic Assholes. That is the worst name ever. That is appalling.
That's outstanding. That is outstanding, mate.
That's what it says on Wikipedia, and I vaguely remember that actually. I do actually know Paul's answer. I know the answer to Paul's question. When Kurt was the GM, he was in a wheelchair, wasn't he? They did a gimmick with him in a wheelchair.
Yes, he was
for that amount of time, and he got pushed around. Sort of when I feel like I associate that as the. It's a very, very low key version, or not low key, not Caval, Senshi, but a low key version of the. Do you know how that Mr. McMahon Steve Austin thing has been replicated loads and loads and loads of times in loads of different places? We could do a feature on this one down the website about the various different copies of it, but a low key copy of it is John Cena and Kurt Angle.
Oh yeah,
and a good when Angle was the GM, that really helped to get Cena over. Cena called him Lumpy, didn't he? And it used to take the fun out of him a lot. The answer is Luther Reigns. Luther Reigns was his bodyguard and tag partner and henchman, and so forth. The first time that they went for the Reigns thing, they must like the word Reigns, and they obviously thought they saw a lot in Luther. And then years later, his brother Roman came along.
There you go. What a tag team they would make, eh? So, question number 17. What was the more well-known ring name of the individual who portrayed Shinobi and Avatar in the WWF? What was the more well-known ring name of the individual who portrayed Shinobi and Avatar in the WWF? So, just to clarify, this is a chap that had characters in the distant past in the WWF called Shinobi and Avatar. He did have a number of gimmick names over the years, but one in particular he was most famous for, and that's the one I'm looking for.
Yeah. I think if anyone said one of the other gimmicks, then we'd possibly give them the point. But if they were to know the other gimmick, then they would know the real answer. So
I would accept any of his other gimmicks, to be fair, yeah. Because I can only really think of one anybody else would know.
Yeah, so can I. So can I? I actually, I don't even know his real name. Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Just came to me then. Just as I said, I don't know. I do know.
Fair enough.
Nice fella. Met him a couple of times. Never actually interviewed him, but I have spoken to him a couple of times on TNA tours and stuff when he was doing backstage work and stuff like that. Nice fella, really understated. I don't remember Shinobi. I've heard that said, but I don't remember. I do remember Avatar.
Shinobi was a very, very, very short-lived gimmick. Avatar was. I thought Avatar was cool at the time because he wore a mask to the ring, took it off to wrestling, and then put it back on after. It was a bit bizarre, but enjoyed it.
It was a bit like
but...
the Avatar was a bit like the. Do you remember when Glacier came along in WCW? And was,
yeah.
Was meant to be basically Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat. Avatar felt a bit like he felt like a sort of Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat sort of character, didn't he?
So who was he?
I think his real name is Alan Sarvin. I think is his real name, as I've gone through my brain. But Al Snow is what you're looking for.
Al Snow, okie doke.
And Leaf Cassidy for a short time as well, but Al Snow.
Okie doke. So, question 18. Who became the manager of the Body Donners after the team turned face? So who became the manager of the Body Donners after they turned face? Okay.
Bloody hell.
Who became the manager of the Body Donners after... Oh, I've got you. Got you. Have I got anybody else out there? That remains to be seen.
I like Paul's general knowledge rounds because I tell you what happens with Paul's general knowledge rounds. I have a theory about this because it might be because I do the same sort of thing. Every now and again, I think of a really good question and I write it down and it doesn't fit a connection. And then when I get a few of them, they come out as a general knowledge round. But basically, it's Rob's thought of 5 good questions over the last 6 months. So I think Paul has seen that about 8 weeks ago, thought, oh, that's a good question. Noted it down. It hasn't fit in any sort of connection anywhere, so he's chucked it out as a general knowledge question. And he's done me.
Incorrect, but nice idea. I'm just going to give a big shout out to one person who will remain nameless for now. But one answer we've had in has made me laugh outrageously because they've said that their manager was Jose Mourinho, which I can just see perfectly. I think so. And Chris Martin's been waiting on a question on the Body Donners for ages. That's an odd one to be anticipating, but hey, takes all sorts.
I don't remember them turning babyface. This is the big thing. It's not like I can't remember their manager. I can't remember them being babyfaces.
Well, they were indeed.
And
that
should be my era. Forget the fact that I've got my year wrong earlier on with Ahmed and Yoko. Which, by the way, I overcomplicated that question. I should have just said who slammed Yoko in on his pay-per-view debut and left it. But I just don't remember the Body Donners turning babyface.
Well, let's have something because it's 23 minutes past 9, mate. So we're gonna have to breeze through these.
I haven't got anything.
Okay.
I haven't got anything. I can't think of it. I just can't think of any. There's not really managers, was there, in that era? I can't think of who any managers would be. Yeah. Slick. It's not Slick.
Slick. That's your answer.
Wait. Wait, can I answer one? Can I change my answer?
Yeah.
Hillbilly Jim.
Fine. Hillbilly Jim.
Because he was a babyface manager in that era, and maybe the Smoking Guns went with Sonny, so Hillbilly Jim went with the Body Donners. I'll say Hillbilly Jim.
Okie doke. Question number 19. Who did Nick Aldis defeat to win his first NWA heavyweight title? So who did Nick Aldis defeat to win his first NWA heavyweight title? He's won it twice. The second one he beat Cody Rhodes for at All In a cracking match, actually. But who did he win his first one from?
Oh no, I've just remembered the Body Donners thing. Oh, you bastard.
Oh dear.
I'm going to look around my room here and see if I can find a petard. One of my own petard. And if I find my own petard, I'm going to hoist myself from it. Paul's done a theme. He's told me it's general knowledge, and it's a theme, and it's taken me 4 questions to work it out. I knew I should have written them down. I knew when you said that I should have written them down and gone through them, and I thought, no, you said general knowledge, so I'll take it. It's not. Well, it is general knowledge, Martin, but he's done a little mini theme in there, which I, having now got the 3rd one, have worked out. Interesting place to go, by the way. Interesting place to go to use that word. You could have the word that I think is the connection in this question 19 could be a connection around in itself.
Well, what's your answer?
I think it's Tim Storm.
Okay, Tim Storm. So that's question 19. And question 20, which individual has more reigns as a TNA Tag Team Champion than anyone else? Which individual has more reigns as TNA Tag Team Champion than anyone else?
Right. Now, having got what I perceive to be a connection, the thing is, you could do me with a Juice and Domino now. I could sit here going through things that could fit your connection, and you could kick me in the balls with a Juice and Domino. So I'm not sure how much time I want to spend on this. How many people could it be? Okay. I'm going to call your bluff.
By the way, guys, we're not sticklers for spelling. I've just seen a few people mention spelling in the answers. If you got the spelling wrong, it's not a problem at all. As long as the bits and pieces, as long as we know what you're going for. So, question 20 was, which individual has more reigns as a TNA Tag Team Champion than anyone else? So Rob is here psyching himself out on the answer.
Well, I can only think of one answer that fits your little burgeoning theme, right? And I think you've already done that, and I don't think you would do that again.
I did say there wasn't a theme.
I know you didn't say there was a theme.
If there happens to be a connection, then there's a connection.
Is it past the watershed? I know you didn't say there was a fucking theme, right? But if you'd have asked this as question 19, I would have said James Storm, right? But we've just had a storm, and the air is cleared, and it's beautiful, and I can smell the petrichor. But I am going to say Bobby Roode.
Okie doke.
Because I think you're trying to do me. So I am protected. Oh, Dizzy, good evening.
There's the cameo.
That's the end of the tale.
Right. So that's our 5 questions in. So let's go through the answers for the last quarter of the quiz. So question 16, I asked, what was the name of Kurt Angle's assistant / bodyguard during his time as SmackDown GM? You said Luther Reigns. The answer was Luther Reigns. Correct. And yes, Martin, I am quite proud of myself.
It
Luther
never
Reigns
rains.
is the answer to that question. So question number 17. What was the most well-known ring name of the individual who portrayed Shinobi and Avatar in the WWF? Rob said Al Snow, and once again, he was quite right. It was Al Snow.
Yes.
We'd have accepted Leif Cassidy. Question number 18. Who became the manager of the Body Donners after they turned face? Rob did say Hillbilly Jim, but Rob, what was the
How
one?
bad does that sound now? What a shit answer that sounds now.
Go on, correct yourself.
I would argue that they weren't necessarily baby faces at that time, but Cloudy
Cloudy is the correct answer, and they were unquestionably hand-slapping, smiling baby faces. No question about it. And that brings us on to question 19. Who did Nick Aldis beat to win his first NWA heavyweight title? You said Tim Storm. The answer is yes, correct. It's Tim Storm. So that's the penultimate question. Question 20. Which individual?
And you could have done Lance
reigns?
Storm, and you could have done Devon Storm, and you could, there's lots of Storms you could have done, including James Storm. And
as Adam has said, that all that pressure has created quite the atmosphere. Yes, indeed it has.
Yes.
So, and I suspect there might be a cold front coming from Rob after I give him the answer to question 20. Which individual has more reigns as TNA Tag Team Champion than anyone else? Well, it was James Storm, of course. Why on earth would you think it was Bobby Roode?
Is it seriously? Is it really?
It's James Storm.
Is it really?
Storm.
Well,
yeah,
you know what that shows? That just shows, right, that you could only think of 4 types of weather. That's all that shows.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
I had loads.
You could have done WCW Thunder. You could have done.
Yeah.
There must be some others. You could have done Sunday Night Heat. That's weather. You could have done. I'm sure you could have done others. I'm sure I'll think of others. There must be something to do with hail somewhere along the line. There's other things you could do. But you've done 2 storms because you can't think of anything else. So you've had to go with. There was wasn't there a Mexican El Ciclone or something like which was to do with cyclones. There's almost you could have done
hurricanes.
You could have done
hurricanes, Texas tornadoes.
Many you could have done
Typhoon.
You're just so devoid of imagination. You just had to do 2 storms next to one another.
No, Rob, I'll tell you what actually happened. I couldn't decide which storm to use for question 19. And I thought, I know, let's use another one and really piss him off. Anyway.
I can't tell everyone the reason why I don't like James Storm. And I really can't tell that story. If one day at Hooked on Wrestling Party you get me drunk and it's about 3 a.m, I'll tell you why I don't like James Storm. It's not a fair reason. James Storm's quite a good dude. But there's a reason why I sort of don't like him. It's a little bit like the way that Mick Foley doesn't like Goldberg. It's a silly reason. But of all people for Paul to get me with on the final question, he knows that's the worst. It's the second worst. He could have got me with Colt Cabana, who I genuinely don't like. But...
Adam's proper murking you, but I have a feeling you're murking yourself, mate. So before you get too upset, let's bring in Chris for those bonus points and get a winner, and then we'll choose a winner of our Jeff Hardy. Thing. Oh, Dizzy, get off my computer, mate. Come on, Dizzy, no. Chris, hello, mate. You enjoy that? I thought you would.
Very much so, yeah. It was great sitting in the background watching this happen.
He was even more mardy than I thought. But anyway, give us the last set of bonus points so we can decide on our winner.
Okay, Will Kitchen 3, Adam Pearson 2, Chris Marden 2, David Reed 2, Martin Richards 2, Patrick Heathfield 2, Leanne Culverhouse 1, Steve Clark 1. That's Will Kitchen 3, Adam Pearson 2, Chris Marden 2, David Reed 2, Martin Richards 2, Patrick Heathfield 2, Leanne Culverhouse 1, and Steve Clark 1.
Fantastic, guys. So if you want to add up all your scores, so your actual number of questions right, plus any bonus points Chris has given you, add them up and put your comments, write your score in the comments, and we'll see who's our winner this week. In the meantime, Chris and I have done a random draw for the winner of the Jeff Hardy shirt. So Chris, could you reveal the winning name, please?
I can indeed. It is Ash Atkins.
Ash Atkins. Well done, Ash. You are our first WWE Euroshop winner. So you win your Jeff Hardy t-shirt. Well done indeed. So I will be messaging you later on tonight to try and get you get your details of size and address so we can get that out to you. And guys, anybody who hasn't received those yet, they're all going out tomorrow, except the Jeff Hardy one, which will take a little bit longer because it's coming from Euroshop. So what are you doing? Some good scores again tonight. I see some plenty in 20s. I'm seeing 22, some 25s. I am seeing a 29 in there from Patrick Heathfield, who I believe is once again going to be our winner. So well done again, Pat. We're gonna have another week with your questions, I think, next week, mate, because we're going to pull you out for a week. Hope you don't mind. Or we're just going to replace Rob with Rob with you because Rob clearly failed. Don't worry. Don't look so upset. I'm only joking. I'm just going to use him as independent adjudicator. So, guys, right? We're quite conscious of the time now. We've run long, so we won't hang around now. We're gonna let you guys go and have some semblance of an evening. But once again, thank you for joining us tonight. Rob mentioned it earlier, and I know Chris feels the same. It's one of the highlights of our week. So we hope you guys enjoy it as well. And obviously, we're going to keep this going.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
No, Rob's thrown his toys out of his pram, and they've been taken away by a gust of wind in a storm. So, guys, have a great week. I'll be putting a new event up and sending it all out to you in the next couple of days. So watch out for that. Watch out for our podcast as well. Check out the website. If you've not played the quiz on the website, please do so. It's under quizzes on the homepage. You can't really miss it. See if you can beat Rob's score on that to really ruin his week. And look, we'll see you all next Sunday. Cheers, guys. Thanks very much for your help, as always. Ta-ta.
See you later.